Welcome to Inner Peace Better Health. I am your host, Shreya, where we explore the quiet power of healing and self restoration. Today's guest, Amanda J. Scott, author of Finding My Way Back to Me, brings an extraordinary story of courage, rising from years of abuse to reclaim her voice, peace, and self worth. Through self care and mindfulness, she transformed pain into empowerment, and today she helps others to do the same. So, welcome, Amanda. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Oh, well, I'm delighted. Thank you very much, for um, uh, uh, you know, uh, bringing me onto your show and with the listeners. Hello today to everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your kind words. And, Amanda, when you look back on your journey, what was the first moment you realized you needed to find your way back to yourself?
Well, I experienced domestic abuse in a marriage for 17 years. Yet, you see, for those 17 years, for the longest time, I didn't realize that what I lived with was abuse. Because abuse takes many forms and is often hidden, whether it's financial, emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. It creates a feeling of shame in the abused that keeps them stuck. You see, nobody wants to be unloved and uncared for, so we make excuses for our partner's behavior rather than accept the truth that we are being abused. Um, my journey to free myself was when I suddenly realized that I couldn't do this anymore, that I wanted a better life for myself and for my children, and I wanted the freedom to be myself. Um, how it started, I think with me, it just started as, in my case, it was slow. It began slowly. It was started with one incident of disrespect that became two and three until eventually it became the way I lived. So, I mean, I was told I was stupid. So it didn't take long before I thought of that. I believed it. So every time um, I did something, it meant that each time, that I was treated badly, it became my fault because I thought if I was better, things would be better. So that's what happens. It just quietly creeps up. And the emotional abuse turned into the financial abuse as well, because I didn't want to question or my husband's decisions. Why? Because I think all I wanted was peace and for the constant tension in the house to be relieved. So I did what I was told, hoping he would be better.
Yes. Thank you for sharing your. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think we really need to, without healthy love, our health suffers, and it does. Inner peace and good health, they don't grow in abusive soil. They thrive in healthy, respectful love.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think a healthy, it's to understand, okay, so what is a healthy relationship? Well, a healthy relationship is a place of safety, of love, of respect, and of mutual growth. But when abuse is present, whether that's emotional abuse or physical or financial or spiritual abuse, it strips away at those foundations and leaves you living in survival, not in love. So in healthy relationships, we know, there is freedom. You can speak your truth. You can make mistakes. And you can set boundaries and still be loved. Respect is not negotiable. negotiable. It's a baseline. But you see, in abusive relationships, the control replaces the respect. Instead of safety, you feel fear. Instead of growing, you shrink. And
Yes.
so, yes, and this is what happens. You second guess yourself, you're walking on eggshells, and you abandon your own needs to keep the peace.
True. And thank you for sharing your experience with us and with our audience. This is like, I have no words. And how did mindfulness help you take those first brave steps?
Well, I think the first and most powerful step a woman can take is admitting and acknowledging that she is in an abusive relationship. And it might sound simple, to someone on the outside, but when you are living in it, it's one of the hardest truths to face. Because we make excuses. We tell ourselves it's not that bad, especially if there's no bruises or broken bones to prove the pain.
Yeah.
But abuse wears, as I said before, it wears many masks. It's not always loud and violent. Sometimes it's a silence, the control, the manipulation, the constant walking on eggshells. Emotional and financial abuse erodes your spirit over time. And in some cases, the invisible wounds, because they are invisible wounds, can be the hardest to name and heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, for me, my journey to free myself started when I came back from a walk in the park. And on my return, I found 12 missed calls from my husband. I was terrified. I thought something had happened. I called him. And where are you? What have you been doing? Why haven't you been answering your phone? I've been waiting here for my lunch. I mean, this was a beginning of the end.
Yeah.
When you've been lied to and abused and told that you're worthless, you must realize that the truth is you don't need anyone else's permission to call it abuse. If it feels wrong, if you feel small, trapped, silenced, afraid, or constantly questioning your worth, that is enough. You don't have to wait for it to get worse. Your feelings are valid and your pain is real. So once we accept it, that is the beginning. That is the beginning when your healing begins. And you don't have to have all the answers. And you don't have to know what the next step is. But by simply acknowledging it, it cracks open the door to freedom. And that's when that is when you begin your journey back to you.
I completely agree, and I think that awareness is really powerful because it often begins with a whisper that says, I deserve peace. And do you think self care is more about a routine or about self respect?
I think it's vital. It is a vital step. And so once you've acknowledged it, you see, until you name it, you can't change it. But once you acknowledge it, that is the first step. You naturally start to, self-care is put your, make your time, make room for your time, because it's really important. It's important to have space to breathe. And it might seem foreign at first, and it might actually feel selfish at first, but it's not. It's sacred. I mean, my space, where I found, it's space to breathe in nature, in the park, amongst the trees, the birds, that stillness. There I could actually process my emotions. I could, away from the chaos.
Yes.
Self-care is about that. It's not about indulging yourself in, those massages but it's vital. Self-care is a vital thing. Just to have time to yourself.
Yes.
To have that peace. To be able to make sense of what was going on. That's what I really needed. And I needed to be away from the chaos. And self-care it just naturally happens when you start to acknowledge it and accept what's going on. You naturally start to look after your own needs, to respect yourself. Yeah.
True.
Because
Beautifully said.
I
Yes,
just
go ahead.
don't tell yourself that you'll stay for the children. This is what I say. Because what we teach our children in that situation is that love equals abuse. And one of my primary motivations for leaving the marriage was to show my children the importance of self-respect.
Yes.
And that's important. But I think healing doesn't happen all at once. It's not a single decision. It's a daily commitment. But each time you choose yourself, when you go to, when you speak up, when you first speak up, even though your voice may be trembling at first, when you rest, when you cry, when you walk in the park, instead of returning back to the chaos, you are reclaiming pieces of yourself. And that is the way back to yourself. It's to yourself. It's being able to take responsibility of yourself, yes? To care for yourself, to treat yourself with kindness and respect. I think, that is number one. And that self-care helps you. And to know that you are not alone. This is very important. You are not alone. There are safe people and places ready to hold space for your healing, whether it's a counselor, a support group, a women's shelter, or someone like me who's walked down the path and wants to help you along your journey too. You're not alone.
True.
Yeah.
Beautifully
So
said.
I think it's recognizing the alarm bells, because often they're very different in each case, but the alarm bells broadly represent as a total lack of power in the situation where the other partner has all the control. You see, the situation I was in had nothing to do with the way I behaved, what I did or what I didn't do. It was simply because my husband was a deeply insecure man that needed absolute control.
Yeah.
And because of my lack of self-worth, I chose to accept it rather than question it. So when you've been abused for a long time, you keep on accepting it, even though you know you shouldn't. Sometimes you think, oh, this is what relationships are all about. And that's what I said, come back. A healthy relationship is a place of safety, love, respect, and mutual growth. Yeah. It's not a place where you should be walking on eggshells, abandoning your own needs to keep the peace. That is not healthy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And I think healing is not just leaving the past behind, it's reclaiming the power piece by piece. That's
That's right. And each time you speak up, even though you're trembling at first, yeah, when you decide to rest, sit down yourself for a minute, yeah, when you decide to cry even, yeah, you are reclaiming pieces of yourself. But I did find that walking in the park, getting into nature is one of the best ways of healing yourself back and finding your way back to yourself.
yes.
Yeah.
And for women who are listening and who still feel trapped in silence, what is one small act of self care that could open a door to change?
I think whatever they, even preparing a meal, even reading a book, doing something that you do and not feeling guilty about it. I think, every woman deserves to feel comfortable in her own skin, trust her own voice, and live life like it feels like hers, not shaped by fear or control or survival. No. So I think it's spending a little bit of time, no matter what it is. No matter what it is, we all need that time, and I think with in healthy relationships, you can set boundaries and still be loved. You can have that time. That self-care is important. It's not being selfish, and it's realizing but self-belief is a start to changing everything. It's easy to blame other people for it, but it's not until we believe that we are worth more and that we won't put up with abusive behavior any longer that things can start to change.
Yes, that message touches deeply. And also, healing after trauma can be non-linear. Yeah, like healing after trauma can be non-linear. So, what kept you grounded when progress felt slow or painful?
Well, it's very slow. Yes, it can be slow. And in the book, Finding My Way Back to Finding My Way Back to Me, I go through 43 pivotal days it took me to change my life. Now, some of these days, I had to make decisions. I was forced out of my comfort zone. But I think I had a burning desire. And that desire was just to be free, to make my own decisions in life. I just wanted to be happy. So I think, when you make a decision that you deserve a better life, just do whatever you can to make that happen. And that means finding the part of you that still has dreams for a good life and wants to leave more than you want to stay. I mean, nothing about moving beyond an abusive relationship is easy, but each time your mind falters, tell yourself that you deserve more and keep going. And that's what I did. I had that burning desire. I wanted to be free. I wanted peace. I wanted inner peace. I wanted good health. I had it already for years. I was silencing myself, and it affected everything. It affected my thyroid, my energy, my spirit. But when I began to prioritize my needs, with that walking in the park in nature, listening to my own inner voice, and surrounding myself with support, then you start to heal. And I think one of the most critical things to do is to have a friend. You don't need a lot of friends, even just one friend who knows about your situation and is helping you to find solutions to your current abusive situation. I think that's one of the most important things.
Yes.
I mean, because if you don't have a friend, the only ear you have in your ear is your husband telling you what to do. So you really need support. And that one person will help you, will remind you that you deserve better.
Yes.
And will give you the confidence to walk with you. And you might not be walking, strongly at first, but with that support, it helps you. It helps you. And I had that support. And as I said before, you don't need many people to help. Just one person can help you.
That honestly is very freeing. And thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Amanda, for sharing your story, your strength. I
Yeah.
think your journey reminds us that healing is possible and peace begins the moment we choose ourselves again. And yeah,
And it's having that loving relationship with yourself first. Because when I look back, actually, and I had the biggest problem was how I interpreted the signs of love. You see, when I got married, I was convinced of one thing, that my husband loved me. When he called me 12 times a day to find out what I was doing, who I was with, and when I'd be back, in my mind, I thought it showed me that he loved me so much and cared for me. When he was critical of all my friends at the beginning of the relationship, I believed that he was concerned for my well-being. You see, I had to believe it because the thought of being unloved and uncared for was unthinkable. So when I look back, as my husband's behavior deteriorated, I accepted what I thought was love and a protective nature, but it was actually abuse and control. So I think really the first step is, when you're self-healing, is to know what love is. What is love?
yeah,
Love is respect. It's without disrespect. Yeah.
definitely. Thank you. Yeah,
Mm. So that's admitting it is the first step to acknowledging it. It's the first step to changing it. And as I said before, you don't have to have it all figured out. Yeah, you just need to start. And then people will come into your life to help you to make that happen.
true. And thank you so much for sharing so much your wisdom, your experiences, your journey with our audience. And if after this my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
Oh, absolutely. They can connect with me on amandajscott.com. And there I've got a blog. They can receive blogs, and my book is on that, Finding My Way Back to Me, and it's sold on all platforms. But I must say that if anybody wants any support or wants to ask me a question or wants to ask a question for a friend of theirs, please send me an email and I will personally get back to them on that, because I know how important it is going through this process to get back up on their feet and to have some other support around them, knowing, am I doing the right thing? What am I, what is the best thing to do? So I am open there for anyone to reach out to me, and I will support them personally. Thank you.
Yes, and I will definitely make sure to attach all these details and links below so that the listeners can find them easily and get in touch with you and really know more from you. And to all my listeners, Amanda's journey
Thank you.
reminds us. Yeah. Amanda's journey reminds us that healing begins when we choose ourselves. Through mindful presence and gentle care, we can turn survival into strength and silence into self love. To everyone who's listening, start small, breathe deeply, and know that freedom begins the moment you believe you deserve it. Thank you.